Last year, Insurance Journal and its official research partner, the actuarial services firm Demotech, collaborated to produce the industry's first list of super-regional property casualty insurance companies. The list generated a lot of interest and discussion. Now it's time to update the super-regional list, so we've asked Joe Petrelli, president of Demotech, to explain how the list was arrived at and why he thinks it is of interest to others in the insurance industry.
I think the formula for qualifying for super-regional this year is going to be quite comparable to last year. We'll require a company to be an active company, reporting information to the National Association of Insurance Commissioners in the standard property and casualty format. We'll require the company to write at least $1 million in 2 states, but not more than 34 states. We'll require the company to have at least $100 million of surplus as regards policyholders. We'll also ask that each of the companies write less than 90% of their dollar volume in any one state, and they'll also write less than 90% of their dollar volume in any one line of business, and they'll write at least $50 million of direct premiums written. Given the choice between the number of states a carrier actively writes in and the dollar amount of premium written by the carrier, I guess the question as to what's more important depends on whether you're Demotech or you're the carrier. Certainly the carriers that write in a small number of states think the states are important, and the carriers that write premium volume think the premium volume is important. We kind of split the baby. We think the important thing is that the companies are active in their markets and they're writing aggressively in those states, and that to us is what will make the final call. The criteria for the 2008 Super Regionals is going to reflect input from interested third parties. Last year we received input from readers, from companies who made the super regional list, from companies who did not make the super regional list. We're going to factor that into this year's criteria, and we'll be publishing those criteria in this year's edition of the 2008 Super Regionals. We asked for input, we received input, and we're going to reflect it in this year's criteria. I think insurance companies want to be identified as super regionals because it sends a strong signal to their agents and to their insureds and even to their employees that they're competing against national companies, they're competing against state specialists, and they're winning that war, and they're winning the battle of competition. It sends a strong signal. Super regionals are critically important to the insurance industry and to their producers and agents, and also to their insureds. Many of the super regionals have been around more than 100 years. They're strong, stable markets that have been working hard for their agents and for their insureds. They compete against the national companies, they compete against state specialists, and virtually all, I think each of the 139 super regionals that the Insurance Journal and Demotech designated and identified in 2007, each of them utilized the independent agency system. So I think it's critically important to agents and consumers. The 2008 Super Regional list will be available in the June 16th edition of the Insurance Journal, and then it will also be available at insurancejournal.com.